Let's learn how to use the new let function in Excel. For the time being, it's only available on Microsoft 365. But even if you don't have it, it's worth knowing how it works and how it can help you. The let function allows you to temporarily give a name to a range, value, or calculation so that you'll be able to refer to that name again within that specific formula. This is useful when you have a repetitive or lengthy expression that's used over and over within a given formula. Here's how it works. I'll be using Excel for the web in our example. We have the unit cost and selling price of a product on this worksheet. We want to know what our profit percentage will be after expenses. The standard way to calculate this is to subtract the cost from sales, less expenses, and divide by the cost. It would look something like this. We use units sold times selling price to get our sales amount, subtract cost by doing units sold times unit cost, subtract expenses, and divide everything by the cost. We need the numerator to be in parentheses, and enter. Now this formula gets the job done, but it isn't very reader-friendly. The problem is, it's difficult to follow. With all the cell references, you may take a little while to figure out how we arrived at this calculation if we come back to this file months later. What the let function does is to simplify the representation of a repeated variable within a formula by giving it a name that we can reuse as many times as we like within that formula. So using a let function in this formula would look like this. We type equals and the function name open parenthesis. Name 1 is the name we'll use to replace our repeated expression. Let's call it sales, comma. And name value 1 is the expression that we're looking to replace. So to get our sales amount, we'd multiply our units sold, that's A4, by the unit selling price, that's C4. By doing this, Excel calculates the value of A4 times C4 this one time and just reuses the result whenever we refer to the word sales again. For each instance where we would have typed A4 times C4, we'll type the word sales instead. Now after we've typed at least one name and name value pair, we can type our calculation, which would include the name we've declared, or we can declare another name and name value pair. The let function can handle up to 126 pairs, which would all need to be declared before we start our calculation. So we do have a second name that we'd like to declare, which would be the cost. And our cost value will be the units sold times the unit cost. So now we're ready for our calculation, which must be the last argument within our let function. We want to take the total we collected from sales, subtract the cost, and the expenses. And we want to place all this over the cost. Let's get these in parentheses. And close our let function here. This should be a percentage. Now that was a whole lot easier to formulate, and now it's easier to read too. We have one name and name value pair, the second name and name value pair, and our calculation last. When we come back to this spreadsheet months from now, we won't spend extra time trying to remember or figure out what those numbers mean. Just like Excel, once we look at the definition at the outset, we're mentally replacing that definition each time we see the word in that formula again. Another advantage is that while in this example our let name was just replacing an arithmetic operation, when the let name replaces a lengthy or complex formula on a large worksheet, Excel moves faster because it's only calculating that formula when you declare it at the outset. So your spreadsheet performance improves. Here's another example. We have each employee's monthly sales shown on this spreadsheet. What we have in our result column is a formula where employees whose monthly average is greater than 90 receive a year-end bonus, but those who average less than 75 sales are subject to a review. If they're in between, we have the average itself displayed. Again, not complicated, but we have the average function a total of 3 times where we could have typed it only once. This means that Excel is calculating the average 2 more times than necessary. On a very long spreadsheet, those extra computations really add up and slow down your worksheet. Here's what a let formula would look like. Equals let, open parenthesis. AVG could be our declared name, comma, and name value would be the average formula. So we'll type that average formula, and we want the average of this range. So now our calculation. If AVG is less than 75, then we want to see the word review. And our second condition, if AVG is greater than 90, then we want to see the word bonus. Otherwise, we just want to see the AVG. Let's close this parenthesis and 2 more. Hit enter and copy down. Our results are the same. Not only does it simplify the representation when we're reading it, but the use of a declared name made it easier for us while we were building the formula itself. Are you liking the new let function? Let us know and visit GoSkills.com to learn more.
Ready to learn more about Microsoft Excel? Then check out the full course on GoSkills.com. Click the link in the description.